Welcome to a how-to video from Worthington Model Railways, and today I'm going to look at trees and a couple of other things will creep in as we do that, but I want to talk a little bit about my trees on the layout, what I do, how I do them, and then look at a new technique. Now in the past, the way I make trees, and we'll see a few of these on the layout, is I use these armatures. They're from Woodland Scenics, and basically you can take these and you can bend them in different ways and do stuff with them, so you can actually bend them so that they don't look one-dimensional. So there we go, see, we get some dimensions to it, but they still don't really make that full a tree. And then for the leaves, what I use are these Woodland Scenics Clump foliages. They come in different colors. This one's dark green. This one is light green, and so then you just take the armature and stick some white glue. So I got some white glue in my little pot here, so I'm going to take the armature, we'll put some white glue all over it, just use a brush like this to put the glue on. Hopefully you can see it sort of daubing the glue on, and then I just take the foliage and stick it on over the glue. Need to put something down to catch the drips before I do that. Hang on, I will be right back. So, as I say, I have different colored green. I'm going to take some light green initially. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Here you go. So I'm just putting lumps of this light green foliage onto the branch, and then I'll grab some mid-green here. We can put a little bit of that in there too. Now you can just do one color if you want. I tend to find I think it looks better if you've got an assortment of colors on here. Just keep adding it, and then usually what I do is after I've sort of added one layer, I'll let it dry for a bit. So we'll come back and look at this a bit later, and then daub some more glue on there and add some more clump foliage. And I will give you a little tip when I'm adding more glue as to what to do to make that work a little better when we come back. So let's just leave this one to dry with what's on there. As you see right now, and it looks pretty good. The only thing about these trees is they sometimes don't have enough depth. See how side to side it's not bushy, and obviously you can twist the armatures a little to make them more bushy. And now I get stuff falling off, but that's okay. I'm going to put this over here to dry. Okay. We will look at a couple of these trees on the layout, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my issue and why I'm looking at doing something different for some trees that I want to do today. Here's one that I bent a little more, bent the armature to give it a bit more depth, just sort of so it's not so flat looking. So one of the issues I have with these foam-based trees is if I look at the height of them, right, this comes out to be about 70 millimeters. So 4 millimeters to the foot, that's about 17 foot. So these trees are not that high, and in certain circumstances I want a bigger tree. I want like a 30-foot high tree. So that's the reason why I'm looking at different techniques and different things that I can do. Now I know that you can get wire armatures that you can buy that are bigger than these plastic ones, and that's one option. But I decided to look at another route today. So we will be back in a minute. So once these trees have started to dry, we need to sort of make them sit better and firmer. What I use is just a can of extra hold hairspray. I mean, basically all hairspray is glue, and I just spray some hairspray on this, and the hairspray will, while it knocks some of it off, will firm it up. And then we can just stick some pieces back on to hold into the hairspray. You might want to wear a mask. I don't know. Sometimes although Obviously, women don't wear a mask when they put their hairspray on. I don't know, maybe guys don't either. I'm sorry, shouldn't be just saying about women. But that hairspray will help hold it. Just a little tip. So this is what I'm going to try to use to create my bigger trees. These are Seafoam Trees. I've never tried them before, so this is new to me. The Seafoam is basically, it's a sort of a natural thing. It's dried. And they come in sort of different sizes and shapes and colors. And some people will spray these with like a matte brown paint. I might try that. I don't know. I quite like the color of where these are. But in terms of me being able to get myself a bigger tree, if I now look at this, you know, I can take maybe 12, 13 millimeters, and so I can get myself closer to a 30-foot tree. So that's the plan. Now the idea is you take these, and I'm going to use some of this spray adhesive and put that on there, and then I get these leaves. This one's a Noch. I've got a Gauge Master darker green leaf, and we're going to scatter the leaves over the Seafoam. But I mean, the first thing I need to do with the Seafoam is I need to sort of trim it a bit. I need to take some of this stuff off that I don't need, like this. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to trim it, I'm going to get it quite where I want it, the height I want it, and then we'll come back and spray it and put some leaves on it and see what it looks like. So I trimmed this down, got it to the height I wanted, made it a little bushier. I think it's going to look good for what I need. So the next thing I'm going to do is I've got a tray here. I'm going to put this in the tray and shake this up and get some, hopefully get some spray glue on it. Oh, it's going everywhere. This needs cleaning. I hate this stuff. It stinks. It gets everywhere. But it does do a good job. Now I get it on my fingers, so I'm going to have sticky fingers. I'm going to wipe those off. And then I'm going to take some of these leaves and spray the leaves over it. Again, I'll use a tray for each color of leaf so I can collect what's left and just put it back and reuse it another time. So I'm going to start with this, these dark green leaves. I always want to know how to open these packages, but a pair of scissors does a good job. I have everything I need at hand at my bench, so I can get to stuff easily. So, just going to take this, and we'll just scatter some of these leaves on it. As you can see, the leaves stick to the spray glue pretty well. And there's the tree with the dark leaves on. Let's put some light ones on it. Probably should have opened these both before I started, but that's okay. Scissors again. Sometimes I like my scissors better than a craft knife. Sharp scissors are a great tool. So put a little, oh, I'm going to get a different tray so I don't mix this stuff up, although I'm sure some of the dark green will fall off onto the light green tray, but at least this way I can try to keep these colors kind of sort of separate. Okay. So we got some light green on it. I'm going to let it dry a bit. I'm going to add a little bit more glue. I might even try the hairspray on this too, see how that works. but pretty good for a first attempt. So I let this dry. I did the hairspray trick again. I put hairspray on it, and then I layered just a little more over the top. So I put hairspray on, and then just scattered a little bit more leaves on top. I quite like the result. I mean, the thing I really like about these is that each one is individual because they are natural. So I'm going to make a couple more of these, and then later on we'll get them on the layout. Here's a slightly smaller one, so you can do these in all different sizes, so I'm going to try doing a slightly smaller one here. The answer seems to be get a fair bit of this glue on initially. And then we can take some of the droppings in the tray and put those on. And then before I highlight with the light green, take the hairspray. Good solid coating of hairspray, and then just take some light green and just highlight over the top, and I think it gives a very nice effect here. Let me come in a little closer there. So I have a few of these made at this point. I'm going to make a couple more, and then we'll go do a little bit of work on the layout before we put them in place. So this is the area where I want to put the trees on this bank along, there's a river back here, so this is close to the castle. I'll put a few trees in here. Now I've already put the static grass down here, so for the most part that's done. But if you look at this bank edge here, it's not great, so it's very, very difficult to get static grass to sit there. So what I do is I use this, it's a pull apart static grass. Comes in 2mm and 6mm, and it comes in different colors. So for example, this one is light green, and this one is alpine green, and this one is dark green. So by taking bits and pieces of this, I can mix it up. So the static grass comes in a sheet. This is the 2mm. See, it's fairly thin, and basically you just pull it off and stick it on. This area up here, this is all done with the 2 and 6mm static grass in different colors in the static grass sheets, and so it's a good way of being able to go over like the edge or the corner of a cliff, and it's very effective because of the different colors you can get it in and how you can sort of mold that in along maybe with some foam and some other things. But I like the way it works, and it solves that problem of how do you get over the edge with something like this. The first thing I'm doing here is I'm just putting white glue down. I do it a sort of section at a time. I am fairly generous with the white glue. It really won't show through once it's stuck, and we want it to stick, and I'm going over the edge too with the white glue so that it sticks around the corner there. Okay, let me go get some grass and come back and show you how we do that. Pulled off some pieces of this static grass. You see it's tough to pull apart with one hand, but I take a piece of the static grass, and then we're just gonna so I take a piece of the static grass and we just sort of put it along the edge here. and pull it apart as we go. So just get a piece of this and stick it and pull it. And I really can't do this with one hand, so I'm going to do some and come back and show you it once it's done. Here we go. I think you'll agree that that tidies that up very nicely. Just takes a few minutes to do, and gives us a nice edge so we don't have stuff showing through. A few other places along here that I want to tidy up with it too, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll probably put a little bit of it down before I put the trees in. I got to wait a little longer for the trees to dry before we get those in, but we'll look at some other things in between time. So these are some of the other trees I was talking about earlier as they sit on the layout. As you see, they are generally sort of small, and some of them are bushy like. Do have some dead ones here that are just made out of old bits of foliage. And these do work pretty effectively, but I'm hoping the other trees will work where I want them over there. We'll see. So I kind of roughly worked out where I'm going to put my trees, and I put some little clumps of this longer 6mm grass in there, so when I put the trees in, they'll look like they have a little bit of grass around the bases of the trees. So let's go get the trees, see if they're dry, and put them in place. There's my trees, and they're sort of ready to go. So I'm just going to come over here. What I'm going to do is just use a little drill, put a hole in there. It actually is foam underneath there, so I might not probably even need a hole. And then I can take my tree and push my tree into the hole. That one I'm gonna, and I don't want to stick them in place because I might decide later I want to move them. That one actually looks pretty effective because I get part of it hanging over the bank. So I'm going to put the other trees in, and I'll show you them when they're in place. So here we have my trees in place. I think looking pretty good. I'm relatively pleased with these, particularly as it's my first attempt. I'm probably maybe need to move them around a little bit now. That's why I didn't stick them in place. Oh, and I put these other armature trees down over here, and I think those actually look good there too. So I'm quite pleased with my tree work today. So I had a couple of trees left over. They were a little bigger than what I wanted for this area down here, so I ended up putting them up top. So I'm very pleased with this effort. I might put another tree in up top, I don't know. I may just leave it, but it's looking good. I'm happy. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be back with more videos soon.